can't stop. A family shop. Think Thayer. Come on, let's get rolling. Come on, let's get moving. Think Thayer.
Hello and welcome to Falcon Weekly here on BGSUFalcons.com. I'm Evan Pivnick, joined by the head coach of the Bowling Green Falcons, Chris Bergeron. Coach, thanks for joining me this week.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Obviously a tough weekend for the Falcons, a tie on Friday night and a loss on Saturday night. Were you able to take any positives out of the weekend?
The positives I take are the first two periods on Friday. I thought we, for the most part, were pretty good. The thing that comes to mind is more like the self-inflicted wound as far as discipline or that play cost us goals. The third period was disappointing. I look at it as the first 10 minutes were us on the power play, which included a 5-on-3, potentially put us up 3 goals or even 4, and instead it stays at 2. Full credit to Western. And then, once we got beyond the 10-minute mark, they took it to us, scored 2 goals, ended up scoring the tie-breaking goal in the 3-on-3, and Saturday was just a really poor game for us. So the positives I would take, as I said, are I think the way we played, in particular 5-on-5, the first 2 periods on Friday.
From a goaltending perspective, we saw Chris Nell Friday night, saw Chris Nell the weekend before, and then Saturday changing it up with Ryan Bednard, and unfortunately had to see Thomas Scholl on Saturday. Not saying you don't ever want to see Thomas Scholl, mm-hmm. But what do you look at from a whole goaltending perspective going into this week?
Going into this week, our goaltending needs to be better. We obviously thought it was a position that we were going to be really strong in. I still think we have the capabilities of being really strong at that position. The play hasn't been that way. And it's probably just been in games. I mean, the play in practice has been totally fine, if not better than that. But we expect a higher level of play. And I don't think the expectations are unfair. I think the expectations are set by the individual. We're just looking for improved play there. Why the decision between Friday and Saturday? Well, I think we had lost, or basically we had tied the last game with 2 losses before that. We had given up back-to-back games with 5 goals, and that's not the level we're looking for. That's not to put blame on any one person. That's just real. And what we wanted to do is change it up, and we wanted to give Ryan a chance. We thought Thomas Scholl had a chance in the Windsor game, and in years past. Not to say he won't get another chance. I mean, he went in there on Saturday as the backup and actually played almost 2 full periods. So it's something now where we're looking for someone to step up and take this thing over. And Chris is the one proven guy. It's not as much this year as it has been in the past, but it's still, he's a guy that's got a proven track record, and we'll look to him for right now, and we'll see where that goes.
You mentioned the differences from practices to games, and what specifically do you see differently from the practices going into the games, just the way the energy is?
The energy?
Or anything in general?
Just speaking of the goaltending, I'm not sure if Chris Nell has ever given up 5 goals in practice, ever. So that's the difference. Pucks go in the net, period. When you talk about focus, or you talk about the way they're competing, and they're competing and they're focused in practice every day. The difference between practice and games is pucks that go in, and it's that simple. When pucks end up in your net, you have to evaluate what's going on. Is it breakdowns? Is it backdoors? Is it something that the goaltender has no chance? Or is there pucks that maybe the goalie should have? And I don't want to put too much on the goaltending. We're evaluating the defenseman. We're evaluating the forwards the same way. But a lot gets put on the goalie when 8 goals go in, and the night before 5 goals go in, and that's just real. So you evaluate it, and that's the difference between practice to games. Is in practice less pucks go in.
And same thing with the skaters as well?
Yeah, I would say the skaters, for the most part, our intensity in practice is really good, regardless of what happens. in games, and this happens with everybody in all sports, is as momentum or negatives happen to you in a game or to your team in a game, the competition starts to go down and down and down, and in practice you can blow the whistle and get it back up again and just implement a drill that's going to create competition, where in a game you let those feelings and the body language and the crowd and it all takes over, and now you're not very competitive, and that's where I think what we ran into on Saturday. And Saturday was just such a different game than we've ever had before. You lose games, you're not as competitive as you want to be, but it's never what that was. I mean, that was let's see if we can't get this clock and get this game over with, get this clock to run out, and that's just not what this is about for us. You get 36 games a year, you can't afford to have games like that, and it's kind of new territory for all of us because it hasn't happened before.
Is it something that you look at and say, hey, it's we're only 4 games into the season? Is that something that you look at and say, hey, there's plenty of time to turn this around and there's a lot of positives to it?
Well, no, there's not a lot of positives. I mean, I think I get criticized all the time for being too negative, okay, which is fine. But to me, when you give up 8 goals and the other team's 6 for 10 on the power play and you lose 8-2, where your second goal was scored with a minute to go in the game. I mean, you tell me where the positives are, and with a team with expectations, and we want to talk about fun. Well, that's not fun for any of us. I'm not talking about for me. I'm talking about for all of us. So I think there needs to be a sense of real too, and the real is we need to play a whole lot better than the way we played. I don't think anybody wants to get ahead of ourselves and make this more than what it is. We've played 4 games plus an exhibition. But what you want to do is you want to stop the momentum and play better and go back to the grassroots of who you say you are no matter what, which is an intense, hard to play against competitive team, and we haven't been that. Full marks to Western Michigan, to Bemidji State, no doubt about it. But from our perspective, there's more, and we need to do more and play harder, and that is something, whether you played 1 or 31 games, I think it's something that you can evaluate.
Now going into this weekend, Ohio State, a team predicted to go second in the Big Ten. It's a tough matchup again for the Falcons, but a team that the Falcons have seen success on the road against, but not so much last year. Got the job done at home.
Yeah. I mean, they're a team that all of our guys know. We're going to play them every year. We have played them. We've played. We've played pretty well against them, I think. This is probably the best Ohio State team our group has seen in terms of expectations, in terms of what they've done so far this year, in terms of their talent level. I think they were picked to finish second in the Big Ten for a reason. They're one of the hotter teams in the country for the second half of the year last year. Their talent level is as good as anybody's out there, and I mean that. This year they played at Denver and beat them. They played in Oxford and tied Miami, a really good Miami team. So this is a really good team. Not different than Western, not different than Bemidji. We're going to have to be right. One of the nice things is we get to play at home Friday night, and if last Friday's an indication of how we're going to play at home, we'll take that. Little tweaks here or there. It wasn't the exact result we wanted, but I thought there was some good there. We're going to need to build off of that.
Now, my next question is going to be being in front of that home crowd. You got to love being in front of the Falcon faithful, especially Friday night, the energy that they brought to the
Yeah, no, for sure. Our crowd's great. I mean, we've talked about it a bunch of times, and you had the video board, and last Friday was the excitement and the energy of the home opener, and this Friday is going to be the excitement and the energy of a Big Ten school in state, a rival as far as hockey goes anyway. So there's going to be lots to look forward to a Friday night's game.
Well, the Falcons are home and home this weekend. Friday night at the Ice Arena, 8:07 p.m. against the Buckeyes, and Saturday night in Columbus. So, Coach, appreciate the time and best of luck this week.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.